Hello, this is Annie the Tanuki back with another Tabs video. Good to see you all again. I'm going to be looking at the various factions in this game, and I'll just tell you what I think about them essentially, and how useful I think the units are and that sort of thing. Not exactly a tier list, but, well, you'll see what they can do anyway. And we're going to start with the Tribal faction, the first faction of the game. These are based around cavemen-like, and I'll tell you what secret units are related to them as well. So we start with the Clubber. This little guy, well, he's just a caveman with a club, basically. There's not much to him, really, but he is your typical melee unit. He can swing his club, and that's about it. He's not particularly strong, not particularly durable, I would say, but he is there, and he's pretty inexpensive at only 70 money. Which means you can probably make a lot of him, and a lot of him can get a lot more done than just one of him. How much can they do is the question, but why don't I just give a little example and we'll see how they do. As you can see, well, actually, hold on. Yeah. You can get roughly twice as many clubbers as you can spear throwers for one thing, that's an example. And despite them killing several cavemen here, the clubbers still outnumber them, I think. They just swing their clubs essentially, and they get one attack rate that goes on the cooldown. So they can do their job well enough, though once they clump together I feel like their range is a little iffy. Still, they're doing well enough, as you can see. But they aren't very durable. They're essentially just there to get a whack in and probably die afterwards. But that is the Clubber for you. Your typical melee unit, essentially. Nothing particularly spectacular there, but he is a vital use for this faction, yes. Our second unit of the day is the Protector. This guy, again, is pretty simple, but he is a little more specialized than the Clubber. While the Clubber is just a general attacking unit, the Protector, as the name implies, is meant to protect other units. Generally, this would be from projectiles and the like, but just having him in front could potentially stop other sort of attacks too. The shield is meant to ward off, you know, spears, arrows, that sort of thing, but if they actually get around him, it's not going to do much. So that's about what you can expect from him. But if you have him in front of your other units, simply put, they're not as likely to get hit. As you can see, he stopped a spear just fine. However, if he actually gets in close himself, he can whack them a little, but compared to the Clubber, he just doesn't hit as hard. I'm not sure how much health he has. I don't really know how much health anyone has, but, well, it's not particularly important in this case, I don't think. How much health they have, I mean, because none of them have very much. Still, he does serve a very important purpose of keeping the projectiles off, especially when it would be something that would actually stop the unit in question, like in the case of the Clubbers. Now we come to the ranged units with the Spear Thrower. As you saw earlier, he can throw a nice spear at people and do plenty of damage with it. In fact, he does more damage than most of the later ranged units. However, he makes up for that, or rather is compensated for that, by his lower cooldown. Or rather, higher cooldown. Whoops. Essentially, he can kill most units with his spear, even the ones from higher factions. But once he actually throws that spear, he's not going to get it back for a little while. We can do some comparison here, I think. Let's put up against, say, an archer and see which one of them actually shoots better. Oh, the Clubber actually gets a nice little jump attack sometimes. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, sometimes they'll try and do it to get around, say, a shield or something, but it's not likely to happen. But sometimes they will just miss, and it's weird like that. But as you saw, the archer did get his bow back eventually. The granted, the spear guy died a little faster, but I suppose this wasn't a very good test now, was it? Let me put them a little further back so I can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. Oh, he has less range too, that's interesting. I'm going to take control of this guy so we know they'll actually get their weapons back. Alright, it wasn't as much of a difference as I thought, but the archer definitely got his arrow back faster than he got his spear and could fire from higher range, so that's the main difference then. The spear throwers do not have amazing range, but they have some, and they do a lot of damage with the spear themselves. They're high damage, low range by comparison, they take a little longer to fire again. Then there's the stoner. The stoner is an interesting one. Like I said, the protector, they're meant to stop projectiles, but the stoner throws a giant rock. That shield is not stopping it. It does still take him a little while to get back, and he has less range than the spear thrower does, so that is a lot by comparison. But he can get the job done when the thing actually lands, that's for sure. So essentially, he's your line breaker. You throw the rock in, it breaks their line, and then, well, stuff can happen. Pretty simple, I think. But now we get to an interesting unit, the Bone Mage. We're starting to get a little more expensive too, you may notice. The Clubber is only 70, Protector is 80, so slightly more. But a Spear Thrower is 120, the Stoner is 160, and now we're at 300, which is nearly double. So what does he do to actually be worth that cost? Well, he has an interesting attack for sure. In particular, he's great at taking out groups, like so. He can make a magic stone appear out of the ground, or rather a spike. Though he isn't going to take a hit himself very well. He can do a melee attack, but he isn't going to do it unless he's already used a spike, I don't believe. As you can see. He's not much stronger than a Clubber is in health terms though, so make sure to keep him in the back line by comparison. So by, for instance, putting more Clubbers in front of him, that could help keep him safe. Though, that does run into another issue, namely that of friendly fire. In fact, he didn't come out any better for that, now did he? Still, he is pretty good at breaking lines as well and can send enemies flying, which, depending on what else you are working with, could be very useful. However, this next unit is a bit different. The Chieftain is a pure melee unit. Essentially, he's a better clubber. He has 2 clubs, as you can see, and he's actually much more tanky in terms of health. He even has something resembling armor with the shoulder pads that blink at you for some reason. So yes, he has a bit more going for him. Let's see how he handles these 6 guys. He gets 2 attacks in quick session, which can definitely help, but since they're clustered together, they actually managed to beat him a bit before he could beat them. Let's space these guys out a little more so it's a little fairer. Oh, we got them both in one hit. He gets his attack back extremely fast too. As you can see, once they aren't all clumped together, he can handle them pretty well, though now he's doing that dance where he has to figure out where the enemy actually is. Still, he did get them eventually. Generally, I think the Chieftain's main role is that he's sort of a line breaker as well. You throw him into melee, he whacks a few units, he takes a couple hits, and since he can take out so many units in comparison to himself, he's probably going to make up for his costs as well. Still, you wouldn't want to throw in just one Chieftain, I don't think. The main goal there is, well, there's several Chieftains, so they can handle things that just one wouldn't be able to. For instance, a whole line of units. As you can see, they handled that very nicely. If I had twice as many, I think they could still probably take it. That was actually a very nice one. If they can't get surrounded, they really won't handle it, it seems. Oh, well, we lost one Chieftain, but only the one. Which leaves us with our last unit of the faction, or so I would say. Well, you'll see what I mean. And that would be, well, hold on, let me add some more people just for emphasis. That would be the Mammoth, who is our boss unit. As you can see, he is massively more expensive. In fact, he is, yeah, 5 times. But he does make up for that. As you can see, he's absolutely huge. Probably one of the biggest normal units in tabs completely. And he can just charge through and send people flying. His stomps also do damage as well. Just by walking around near people, they're still dying. And he can angle his charge in various directions, which is very surreal to see. But he does get the job done, very much so. How exactly would you stop him, though? That's the question. Well, that's where the spear throwers come in. What do you think these spears are made for? Certainly not people, I'll say that. That said, I'm not sure this is enough. No, it's not. You'd need a little more than that. So roughly even numbers, I'd imagine. No, not even that. Still, they do more damage, for sure. Yep. If they had some clubbers in front and maybe distracted, maybe lured off in a different direction, that could have probably worked. So for instance, I had one or two over here. They'd be closing in while the spear guys aren't, and he goes in that direction, and the spears miss entirely. Well, I'm just describing the units here. I'm not actually giving you tactics. I probably shouldn't be. Still, the Mammoth's role is pretty clear. He's supposed to charge in, smash through the enemy lines, and he's absurdly tanky, so he's going to distract a lot of units and take a lot of hits before he goes down. If he even goes down. Honestly, some campaign missions will be taken out with just the Mammoth, and they know it too. However, we're not entirely done. That is all the units in the tribal faction, but there are a couple of secret units that are associated with them. For instance, we have the Raptor. The Raptor is an interesting one. They move very quickly. And they like to headbutt people. It's fun to see them go. They're a little more expensive than the clubbers for sure, but I mean, look at what you're getting. She's just wearing them as a hat now. They just wiggle so excitedly. They're so happy to murder. They're adorable. Oh, he actually lost. Well, good job on that caveman for getting a hit on him. I'm not sure the other ones actually did. I know they're not terribly strong or durable, but I'd imagine they take more than one hit. Still, you can see how they work, essentially. You spam a bunch of these guys, they charge in, they bite people, that's what they do. Also, sometimes they're a little jumpy. I don't know why, but sometimes they're just really eager to get going, you know? It's adorable. May as well give them something to attack them. So yeah, they like to charge in, then they just sort of run around the other side, essentially. Less because that's an intentional strategy, and more just because their speed is going to have them looping around enemies anyway. But yeah, they run in, they bite, they tend to drag them around. I think that's part of the strategy. They do damage that way, but regardless. They're essentially a sort of shock unit that rushes in. Look at them bounce. However, there is one more unit to talk about, and that is the Raptor Rider. Twice as expensive, well, a little more actually. They're a raptor with a guy on top of them, essentially a sort of cavalry unit. Aside from doing what raptors already do, the guy on top can stab with his spear, and he has a shield which might protect him from projectiles. Might. It's not terribly big, especially compared to the protector's shield, but it is something. It is certainly something. And if the raptor happens to die on their own, well, the guy on top is still alive and can still do things. I'm pretty sure that applies to the guy on top also dies. Oh, he missed entirely. I wanted to show off the fact, but not the best example. Maybe if I throw this guy at him? No, I think he just died. No, well, no, he killed one of them. Killed the rider too, though. That wasn't the intent. Oh, one of them did get dispatched on his raptor there, you see. And he's still attacking with his spear and his shield, actually. I forgot they can shield bash. So hey, they have two weapons to work with. I imagine the shield doesn't do as much damage as a spear, but he's still helping. So yes, these are the tribal units. Well, there may be one more, to be honest with you. but I feel like that should be covered later. These are the ones I can definitely say are tribal units for sure. So that is where I'll leave off for now. We have the Clubber, the basic attack, the Protector, who wards off projectiles, the Spear Thrower, who throws projectiles, the Stoner, who breaks through shields, the Bone Mage, which disperses crowds, the Chieftain, which gets in close and meleeing and takes hits, and the Mammoth, which simply charges through everything. So that is our tribal faction. Oh yes, and of course the Raptors that rush in, and the Raptor Riders that do it a little better because they have a guy on top, essentially. I don't think these are meant to exactly slot into particular roles per se, but meant to just be options you can play with and see how that goes. It's all in good fun after all. And what is better fun than sticking raptors on people? I do so love to do that. Oh. Look at him go. Just swarm and pile on things. Always fun to see. Well, this has been Tabs, this has been the Tribal Unit, and I will see you guys again another time. You all take care, and I'll see you later. Okay, so there was one more thing I wanted to bring up because I need to bring it up. It's too silly. There is a glitch called Pillar Mammoth in the game. Well, not a glitch, an intentional bug you can just turn on or off, which I think is hilarious because, well, just watch. Oh, well, that is what a Pillar of Mammoth looks like, most certainly. I don't think anything can stop this, not even the frame rate. For some reason making the screen shake. I mean, okay, they don't stay in the pillar once the actual fighting starts, but it doesn't look like they're worse for wear, actually. I just thought it was silly to have that happen. I wanted to show it off a bit. So yes, you can make pillars of mammoths. Whee! Whee! Okay, that's whoa. Okay, that's too many mammoths. That's too many mammoths. I'm sorry. Jeez. Okay. That's enough mammoths for sure. Alright. I'll see you again in the next video, everyone.